We believe at Amaz'n Grazing that food should not only taste good, but also look good.
Letitia Davies, welcome to Southwest Florida Spotlight.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. So we met during FGCU's entrepreneurship program, and you've got this really cool company called Amaz'n Graz'n Charcuterie.
Yes, I do.
It's a neat concept, and I want to get to it, talk to it a bit. But let's start back a little bit. Let's talk about Letitia. Who are you? Where were you born? Where were you raised? That kind of stuff.
I was born and raised in Niagara Falls, New York. So I lived there my whole life up until I left for college. So until I was like 17.
Very cool. And we have some Rochester people around here.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yes, we do.
Go Bills, man. Go Bills. I went to college for a year first, and I realized that was not for me. So I decided to join the military.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do? What was your military service?
30 Romeo Communications.
Communications, all right. Now let's, how long was your military service?
I did active duty for 4 years, and then I did reserves after that.
Very cool. And then what other kind of work have you done?
Worked for like a telecommunication service. So it was like we did like connecting phones like through the computer. I did that for a little while, and then 9/11 happened. That's when I left that job, and I went to TSA because they started the Federal for Security at the airports.
Yeah.
So that was in 2003, and I did that all the way up into 2016. And over the last few years of my TSA, I went to school for stenography. So after I graduated that school, I did stenography for about 5 years. And then my husband retired. Then we moved to Florida. I went back to school for phlebotomist. I became a phlebotomist. I did that for a couple of years. And then I went back to TSA. So right now I'm at TSA, and I'm also with Amaz'n Graz'n.
Very cool. And now let's talk a little bit about Amaz'n Graz'n. This is a really neat concept. You brought the concept through the FGCU entrepreneurship program.
Correct.
Yeah.
Twice.
And so tell me a little bit about what Amaz'n Graz'n does.
So I started out as a charcuterie cart. So I just made individual boards. So my debut was at the farmer's market in Babcock Ranch. So I got a good turnout for that, like the first couple weeks. And then I was like, maybe I need to do a little more, because I just felt like that wasn't enough. And then people started asking me about, do you do boards? Do you do this? And at the time I didn't. So I said, I better get back on TikTok and start looking.
TikTok University.
That's right. So then I started looking at stuff. So then I started expanding to tables. So now, like, my biggest, I've done an 8-foot table.
Oh, wow. What kind of, what do you do tables for? Is it just for companies, for individuals?
For both. I've done tables for like house parties. I set up on their kitchen island. I've done for like the Babcock Ranch Chamber when they had their debut. I did their launch party. I do like for weddings, like corporate parties, pretty much anything anybody call me for.
Absolutely. When a customer's asked for a board, what kind of a process do you go through to make sure you give them what they want on the board?
Well, before depending on the size, if it's just like the 5-person board, then I usually just make it up myself and surprise them. And they're like, this is great. But if it's something specific, I usually always meet with them before, so that way I can get, like, if they have a theme, if they want colors, if they want certain meats, or a lot of people that's gluten-free. So then it's easier for me to set up, because then I can make a game plan instead of just like free fall in it.
Mm-hmm. And for you, what does it do for you to put these boards together for people? How does that make you feel?
I mean, it makes me feel good, especially when this was not my background. But now that I've, started doing research and I've learned more, I like to put what I do in front of people, where to me, it's the feedback that I get on and make it all worth it.
So what kind of events or, customers would be like the perfect fit for Amaz'n Graz'n?
The perfect fit is more like weddings, something where you want something a little more extravagant and something more of a conversation piece. And also for like corporate events, because, it's kind of like the fix it and forget it kind of thing. So, they hire me, I do everything, and they don't have to worry about it. So that's my main clients that I like to target.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about that moment where, you tried the carts for a while and and you wanted more from that. What was it like in that moment? What did that pivot feel like to you?
It was scary because it was something that I wasn't sure I even knew how to do, but I was just taking a chance on it. And I mean, it was practice.
So while you were at FGCU going through the growth program, were there any of the mentors that stuck out that helped you along your way?
Well, Valia, of course, was my first mentor that really helped me because I'm super shy. And she kind of had to pull me out of my shell to get me to be able to stand out and stand on what I believed in, because she knew I had it in me. And
Keena's a force of nature.
she definitely, she doesn't let me slack. Like, she's texting me, she's messaging me, she calls me. She's great. She definitely, even when I start to feel like I can't go on, because sometimes, I know work isn't every day, but sometimes, if I go 2 weeks without work, I'm thinking, what have I done? Did I waste my time with this? And she got to keep reminding me, you won't always have work every day, but you just starting out. Just keep at it. Don't give up.
Well, I would have never known that you were shy, so she must have done a great job of breaking out of your shell.
Oh, yeah.
You've been outgoing as long as I've known you. So tell me, how's Florida treating you? You guys moved here from New York, and so how's Florida treating you?
Well, when we first got here, we lived in Cape Coral, but then we found Babcock Ranch, and now I'm enjoying Florida. I mean, I love the weather no matter what, but it's definitely beats having snow.
Mm-hmm. That's for real.
I don't even care about the humidity.
No, it's just no snow. So you're in the right place.
I plan to stay here.
So then, let's talk about what the future is for Amaz'n Graz'n. Future plans for it. What do you got, 3 to 5 years out on that?
Well, my vision
There you go.
is to have a brick-and-mortar where I can have the front set up cafe-style. So you can buy charcuterie boards, sandwiches, small bites, and then have enough space in the back where I can actually do workshops. That way I don't have to keep going to rent space everywhere.
And as you were going through the entrepreneurship program, you're considering some training with key readers as well.
So I've been to a couple workshops where you go in, they supply everything, and you just go in there, and they teach you how to do basic things so you can set up your own board. So I like that. So I was like, I can do that too. So that's what my goal is, to, with the funding that I got from the last seed, to do that.
Very cool. And so that's your sort of near-term plans there, is you're gonna start doing those classes, those workshops
Right.
around the charcuterie. Okay, very cool. So Letitia, how do people find Amaz'n Graz'n? What's the best way to reach out and contact you?
Instagram is Amaz'n Graz'n Charcuterie. Facebook, same thing, Amaz'n Graz'n Charcuterie. Right now I don't have a full website, but I do have a landing page where you can get information, which is Amaz'n Graz'n LLC.com.
If there's something that the folks in Southwest Florida need to know about Amaz'n Graz'n, what's the most important thing they need to know?
Then I'm the best.
There you go. Letitia Davies, thank you so much for joining me today for conversation.
Thanks for having me.